This week on True Bloods, we're talking about the scintillating win over North Melbourne and the upcoming clash gather round against the Pies on Friday night.
We're wearing our Lifeblood gather round kits by the Swannies, so get down and donate blood wherever you can. And let's beat these absolute wussy boy Pies at gather round, Deeble.
Let's get into it.
Jeez, this is the most one-eyed podcast.
It's what we're here to do. There is only one side in this competition. It's game-changing.
It's absolutely game-changing, Deeble.
Riddle me that,
Yeah,
Mads.
riddle me that, Deeble.
Do you remember? It's what we're here to do.
This is True Bloods, the number one independent Sydney Swans fan podcast, and we are back in the AFL Today Studio to talk about the win over North Melbourne, the upcoming clash against the Pies, and everything else Sydney Swans. But first of all, you may notice we're wearing the lovely new strip that they're wearing over at Gather Round this week, Mads, but it's got a special message, doesn't it?
It does. Australia has a demand at a 12-year high in terms of demand for plasma, which, you know, pretty staggering numbers, Deebs. So the Swans have stepped in and they want to make sure that Australia are doing everything that they can to get the red back on our Guernsey. But Deebs, there's one person who can say it better, deliver the message better than we can, and that is Polly Porridge.
This week, the boys and I got a very special delivery from Swans HQ. By now, you've probably seen our stunning all-white gather-round kit, but did you know the Swans have actually given up the red this week to highlight the urgent need for blood donations in Australia? As a long-time blood donor myself, I love this initiative from the club. Donation requirements are at an all-time high, and the Swans are encouraging us to all get out there and bring the red back to our kids by donating blood. Just one donation can help save 3 lives, and more than 100,000 new donors are needed each year to keep up with current demands. Even though the white kit looks absolutely fantastic, let's do our best to bring back the red and signing up to donate at lifeblood.com.au and become a bloody legend like me.
Thanks for that, Pol. It looks sensational. Go and buy one. Make sure you go and donate your blood, donate your plasma, and help out something that needs to get done, doesn't it, Matt?
Yeah, well, just one donation can sort of save 3 lives, Deebs. So those numbers, can be really bumped up, and I think it's fantastic that the Swans have jumped on board to help do that. It's a very special cause to them, as it should be for everyone, because we're all capable of doing it, which is fantastic.
Absolutely. But now we've got the really important messaging out of the way, Mads. Let's jump in to the big game against North Melbourne. How good was that, mate? We've taken down North, the big hype team of the competition. Oh, it's North ball, it's this, it's that. We've taken them down by 10 goals, mate.
It's been a while since I've had that much fun at the footy, Deeps.
It was really, really enjoyable for us, wasn't it? We were it was a game where I really got a lot out of it, like watching it down at ground level.
Correct.
And we were picking up on some great intricacies of the game from really watching the boys go round in close.
Big intricacy pod. We are Deebles.
Big wordsmith pod.
It was a great section we were sitting in with a lot of blood supporters. Unfortunately, my man German, who's a diehard North Melbourne supporter, was with us, and boy did he was feeling a bit average from the Chinese that we had prior, which was not a great start. And then he had to deal with a significant. Well, what's it called? What's a group of swans called?
I don't know, a flock of swans.
Well, do you know,
a gaggle. Isn't it a gaggle?
No, that's a gaggle of geese.
Oh,
that's a gaggle of
geese. Look, I'm trying my best here, Mads. We're a big research pod here at True Bloods.
A bevy of...
a bevy of swans, sure.
A bevy of bloods. Beautiful. Yeah, so there was a significant amount of us, and boy, did German. He didn't cop it sort of directly at him.
No.
But we really made them look like rank amateurs for a team that's been, hyped. I guess hyped would be the correct word. But for a team that I thought it was a danger game. I think most Swan supporters thought it was a danger game. Maybe not Alex Donnelly, but I certainly thought it was.
No, there's no doubt, mate. Their supporters were full of confidence.
Yep.
And this is the narrative that gets built in the media is, North Ball's back. They're playing really good. I think they're the sixth best offensive side in the comp. You know, they did a number on Melbourne a few weeks ago. And then I was very much of the opinion that they got a big reality check against Adelaide last week.
Yep.
And that's sort of the form lines I took in. And I think we both did say we thought we would win by 6 goals or so.
Well, we thought we'd win,
yeah.
but you know, you're dealing with a club that has a significant amount of talent up forward, there you go,
Yes.
in the midfield and down back.
Sure.
So, and it's talent that you see glimpses of the fact that they've come of age and they've gelled together. I just thought, you know, and our history over them, while we've beaten them, 10 out of the last 11 times,
Yep.
they haven't been convincing wins. They know
The last 4 haven't.
They know how to play us quite well. So add that into the fact that there's Luke Parker there with something to prove. I just thought, you know, with guys like Nick Larkey up forward, us being a little bit decimated by injury, it could be tough. But boy, I thoroughly enjoyed so much of what we did, and a lot of it was controlling the corridor, Deebs. Yeah. I thought that was absolutely critical. Offensively and defensively, we absolutely held the middle of the ground as our own.
Well, let's go back to your first point there. Having the likes of Nick Larkey in your side, you wouldn't have known Nick Larkey was playing for North Melbourne out there up until the last 2 minutes where he kicked 2 goals. And we were sitting there and we were like, Tommy McCartan and Liz, and that back six would have been filthy.
Well, they were double teaming him for ages, and it was an absolute masterstroke of coaching.
It was. It was so good in the contest up back, even when they had some quick entries into that forward 50. The way that Nick Blakey was able to read the ball and not get caught man watching with that ball coming in just shows how much he's improved as a defender. He was sensational, and the waxing that he did with Tommy McCartan back there to someone who was leading the Coleman medal coming into this round. He was a non-factor, and this defensive structure that Coxie has brought into this game, into his side now, I think we really started to see that, and that was the most impressive part. There were a couple of stages where North sort of started to get going by hand a little bit, but they could not move the ball by foot.
Well, we took this. Comes to my point about the corridor. Yep. On offense, we were surgical in how we moved the ball through the corridor, but we took the corridor away from them. The amount of times they had to chip the ball around half back and they'd break down around midfield, you're really starting to see the game plan, or Cox ball, if you like, Deep, come together, because we were a lot more methodical and a lot more skill-wise. I just thought we went to another level, and it was really good to see.
Yeah, is that I know you're a big fan of the man-on-man defense.
Yes.
Did they start to sort of settle your questions on the zone defense? Because there's no doubt that is what they're implementing with Coxie.
Yeah, for sure. I think my query of the zone defense comes from when you're either A, getting beaten, or B, it's close. Yeah. And I just think there's times and places, but that was the perfect game for it, because we were set up so well defensively. Every kick in, you look at, scores from turnover as well. That's an area that we were struggling in, that we've completely resolved. We were able to sort of rebound so effectively, and that's solely based on the fact that we were set up so well defensively.
Yeah, it was huge. And it's funny that, what did we put? nearly 120 points on them.
Yeah.
And we're talking about the defense. That it was so impressive. We've kept them.
It's critical.
I love listening to SEN on the way in, and Hoyne was really pumping us up. And I think the North had the ball 91 times to start an offensive run, right? Yep. And they've had 12 scores. Right? The normal number would be sort of around the 20 mark.
Sure.
So that just shows how well we did in defense. It was phenomenal, and I think we've really started to see what Coxie wants to implement. It's taken, 4 or 5 weeks, but now that we know how it can be played, it's about executing. And it's a player who is executing better than, most blokes in the competition. He's only played 4 games for the Mighty Bloods, and it's Lifeblood.
It's just been,
how good was he?
He's been phenomenal. And
what a find, mate.
What a find. And this is just symptomatic of a football club that we're very lucky to support, because they continue to just, hey, let's not just go down the tried and true way of, discovering talent. Let's just dig a little bit deeper and let's have a look at the Werribee side. There's been a great deal of talent that's come out of the Werribee VFL side.
The footy factory down there in Werribee.
The Werribee footy factory.
Yes.
Down there at the Open Range Zoo, Deeble. It speaks to a phenomenal level and standard of recruiting that we're very lucky to have, Deebs, because he's ready-made. He already has a license. He's part of the great left foot mafia that is sort of hovering around our half back line, which is just so exciting.
Yeah, like, can you just put your mind to this, Faithful? If you need anything to get more excited about this year so far, you've got your Riley Biases, you've got your Nick Blakeys, and we've got Errol Goulden to come back into this side. Can you imagine that coming down from backward into the forward 50? Matty Roberts too. There's a few others there I'm missing as well. I'll get better at that. You've caught me on the fly with the Mafia. But Braden Campbell is the other one, Mads. Very good.
The great Braden Campbell,
yeah,
who was phenomenal as well. And you talk about licenses. It's just so good to see all those people delivering. You talk about elite skills. You talk about elite skills by foot. We're missing so many of those key link-up players and those key inside 50 absolute weapons of boots. And you're just seeing that because the coaching plan is coming together, it hasn't really impacted us this week. Our personnel issues weren't a factor in any way, shape, or form.
Yeah, it made that. If we said at the start of the year with that injury list that we had that we were going to get to 2-2,
we said if we could even it before gather round, that's an absolute win, Faithful.
It's a huge win. Now, Mads, one thing that we really noticed at the ground was the work of Brodie Grundy coming off the bye. I think it came at the perfect time. He was rejuvenated. Sherry didn't have too much impact on the contest. I thought he well and truly had him, although I think he had the 19 touches. Sherry did. I thought Brodie Grundy well and truly lowered his colours and was able to impact the contest and be effective with the ball that he did get in his hands, because it was just good to have Brodie working again at ground level and impacting the contest.
And this is exactly right. We sat down and I said, I am going to be red hot focusing on Brodie Grundy, because I'll be honest, Faithful, I have my doubts. I just thought he was laborious. I thought he was sort of moving around the ground.
Big wordsmith pod. Laborious. Very nice one.
I thought he was he definitely wasn't moving. I mean, the key component of Brodie Grundy and why you want him at your football club is his around the ground work. And I just don't think it was at the level that I know it can be. So I thought, okay, let's actually watch and see how he goes around the ground, not just sort of what's on camera on TV. And he was back to his old self. It was fantastic. Yeah. Maybe, you are getting a little bit older. He's not, he's just 30. So, but he just seemed like he was tiring, but
do you think we're getting a little bit more out of Grundy with the introduction of Laddams coming into the side?
That's exactly what I was about.
The
to
old
say.
Eshe.
I think it's been critical. Now, aside from his phenomenal kick after was that after the siren?
Half-time siren.
Bloody hell!
Wasn't that something? Play the clip.
Play that. Well, we could play the clip, but. This is a team man, Deebs. Yeah. This is a man who says, hold on, I know I'm flying at the moment. I know I've got a spot up for grabs, and 6 points would look great on that statistic sheet when they're having a look post-game. But I'm just going to center this and put this to the top of the square and keep it as dangerous as we possibly can. Don't worry about the siren going off. I'm going to do the team thing.
I couldn't believe it. I nearly backed him in because he flushed that one against Freo from like outside 50, pumped it home, and then I was like, yes, Eshe is going to absolutely sink this in. Let's go pistol. Yeah. And he's just absolutely let us down. He did.
Yeah, but he flattened us.
It's a really interesting inclusion is Peter Laddams. Played the one game last year. Coxie's brought him in, and I think we are seeing, Brodie Grundy have a little bit of relief during the game, and hopefully that leads to, a lot more output.
It's a next man up mentality.
It is.
And I think Laddams, gut feel right now, Laddams or McLean?
I think they stay for mine.
For yours.
They both stay. I don't think we're looking too tall. The ball was moving well. You had Armadi jumping at the peel. You've got the likes of Chad working forward, Tommy Hanley buzzing around, Corey Warner, Sheldrick coming on. Hanley is in there as well. It's not too tall.
My only concern is it was indoor footy.
That's it.
And it was against opposition that fundamentally gave up in the third quarter.
Yeah, look, and as we always say on this pod, Mads,
horses
for courses, right? So if it's piss and rain and you're down in Tasmania and it's blowing a gale, it's like, yeah, you're probably not playing all those three.
Like
right?
a Megan Gale devil.
Blowing a Megan or a Chris Gale, whichever one you prefer.
Don't blush, baby. Geez,
yeah.
Well, that's the thing. And I think we've got potentially to come back in. Who's the test? Malikan and Cunningham?
Malikan and Cunningham are the two. Yeah.
See, Malikan could be an easy sort of swap out.
Yeah, it would be interesting what they do with Harry, whether he needs the run, but sort of Harry's a guy with 200-plus games, probably capable of coming in and doing the job.
You would think.
But, that throws up good discussions for selection, but... I'm not worried about being too tall. When we were winning all those games at the start of last year, that was our biggest thing. We looked tall, right? But I haven't seen that this year.
No.
I'm very happy with the team dynamics.
Deebs, do you know who I thought continued his understated but really good form?
Who's that?
Isaac Heaney.
Mate, this is 100% right. You had to be at the ground to understand the impact that Haynes had.
Absolutely phenomenal. Set up so many scores and just controlled the midfield. Made the midfield his own completely.
And he was just, as we sort of discussed last week, we wanted to see him getting that handball receive and punishing on the outside, which we saw at least 3 or 4 times.
Yep.
So I'm not concerned about the output of Haynes. Yeah, the numbers aren't as strong as they were
I'm loving the
year,
role.
right? But he's getting a nice mixture there. It's like the boys sort of got going in that midfield as well. You had Florent being a bit more effective around that half forward. Campbell, Haywood having a ripping game.
Mate, we'll get there, don't worry.
Yeah, it's the dynamic of the side is looking really good.
Rowie, El Capitano, who we'll go through in the social seg, but he just keeps going from strength to strength. Will Haywood, boy, did he need that. I feel like in terms of when it comes to confidence players, I feel like he's a big one, and there's a massive school of thought, Kane Corns included, in terms of the raps people have on Will Haywood. And I think Will Haywood's one of the most important players in our team, Deebs. And generally, when he's on, we're on. If he's having a good game, we're generally winning the football game.
Yeah.
And it's so good to see him kicking them from everywhere on the weekend.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more, mate. He took his opportunities and just led up at the ball strongly and finished his work. That's the most important thing is you bring up the confidence. He's really a confidence-based kicker.
Yeah.
Right? He kicks his first one. He's on. Mate.
Yep,
and
for sure.
I tell you what, look, he was sensational on the weekend. But one thing I will continue to question.
Here we go.
Why does Will Haywood go this leaping chess mark? Right?
Yeah, it killed. Now it came off.
It came off this time. It kills me every time. You just got to extend the and he's got good hands. It's not as if he can't take it like a contested grab, but he was lucky. His body positioning is so smart, and I sort of. As a forward back in my day, Mads, you protect
back
the ball.
Back in the day, he's got a flag to his name. Don't worry about that, faithful.
Skipper, best on ground in grand final. We can keep going if you want, Mads, but it is all about protecting the ball coming in on those angles, and he does it better than anyone. But I think he would just be a lot more effective sometimes and take those marks more frequently if he wasn't going them on the chest. But the way he was able to finish, like that one out of contest and kicked a really important goal in that second quarter, that's the stuff we need from Wilbur. And we're a better side when he's up and running, that's for sure.
You bet we are. Another man who I was pretty happy with, who I've been critical of, is Joel Amati. They've combined for 8 goals, him and Wilbur.
Yes, exactly right.
And it's important. it's important to see that sort of form turning around for Joel Amati.
Yeah, I think I am the number one supporter
You're an
of the Amati bandwagon.
party.
The Amati party, the bandwagon. I'm just going to go in and bat for him, right? Because he continually every week throws himself at the contest. And look, everyone's so happy with his game this week, right? Kick 4 goals. But if he does kick the 1 goal too, everyone's all over him. But like he's the consistency in the way he leaps at the ball, brings it to ground when he doesn't mark it. It's underrated, Mads, and he's ultra consistent. And I think that's why you've seen him consistently in the side for the last 2 years, because I reckon that's what they hold pretty dear inside the 4 walls.
The 4 walls, Steve.
That's it.
Geez, they love the 4 walls, don't they?
Hey,
The media loves the 4 walls.
These opinions can, start to build amongst Swan supporters on players, and I just think he's one where they would just really rate internally what he does.
Name one passenger we had.
There weren't too many.
You can't.
That the Chad was, you could obviously tell. So talk the faithful through my reactions to the Chad on the weekend.
Faithful.
Did I pazz out a little
Faithful. I had to calm him. It was reminiscent of the Collingwood prelim.
Yes.
He was panicking, Deeble. You saw. Now this is unbeknownst to us at the time. The fact that Chad's bloody sick, right? He's not getting much of the footy. He's kicked a snag. He's maybe. I think at this point he'd only kicked 1, right?
Yeah, I think he'd had like 6 touches.
He was nowhere.
Like 60% forward.
He was nowhere. So Deebs turns to me and he goes, "See, Mads, this the shit. This is the shit." Where he's jogging down the goal square. Start of the 4th quarter. He goes, "This is the shit. It's going to make him leave." And I looked at him. I said, "Deebs." Deebs, I'm like, he's more than willing to play his role. He's not that arrogant, Deebs.
Mate, you should have seen the live needle. The live needle was doing
moving
this.
back. It was in the orange, Faithful. It was in the orange. I had to pull him down off the ledge. He basically had him on the red eye over to Perth because he's running down to the goal square. Going to go kick a couple of snags. I reckon Chad would love nothing more than sitting in the goal square and be able to use a bit of power. So don't worry about that, Faithful. And as it turned out, he got subbed off the ground. He'd been a bit sick. But boy, I loved his work with Lukey Parker.
Yeah, it's a good clip, wasn't it?
Good,
sensational clip.
Flipping him off a couple of times, and the high five for mine, Devil,
for yours, mate,
is one of the greater things in terms of wholesome, nothing offensive about it, just good, clean fun from the boys. It was so good.
What
dude.
a clip! He's one of our men here, the Chad, and we love his work. And he just continually finds a way to entertain us, and we absolutely love it. But yeah, look, I was concerned. It was
on a plane, Faithful.
It was really good news when he went off subbed, and then we knew something was up. And I think Coxie said on the Monday on SEN that he was crook. So
literally so funny.
Because if you saw on the stat sheet that Chad Warner's been subbed off in the 4th, he's had 10 touches and kicked 2 goals. You're like, what's up, right? What's up, Doc? You would, wouldn't you?
Yeah, you would. Now, we could talk about Chadwick for a while.
Yeah, I've got one for you. I want to interrupt you.
Hit me.
The inboard chiseler from Wixie for the first goal of the game from Oflo.
He just rises. His stocks just bye.
Play the clip.
Bye. It was magic.
Oh man, it's like Wixie. I think it's crazy. You just didn't know Wixie had this in his repertoire.
Yeah.
Did he? Did ya? You just had no idea that Wixie would be bringing balls inside like more than the 45.
Like
That was like a 90 degree. It was, man. And Biasy inside 50. I think he's had the most kicks for the year for going inside 50 and hitting targets for us. It's so important. I stress to this all the time. Get the ball in your best ball user's hands and you see the outcomes that you get.
Yep.
He was just hitting up at the Chad, hitting up at Wilbar. It was really great stuff to see.
But, I mean, going back to Wixie.
Yeah.
You didn't know that he had that in his kit bag,
yes,
as Tom Harley would say.
Kit bag pod. We are.
But his pressure's always been great.
Yeah.
And I think something we lacked was defensive pressure at times.
Yep.
It's not so now. And as I said at the start of the pod, I think a big thing for me where we've struggled is scores from turnovers.
Yeah.
And we had 10 goals from turnover. So you just want to, what you want to see, which we've said from the start, with the new coaches, you want to see issues being addressed in a timely manner. And that's what we're seeing.
Yeah, well,
and this is being decimated without our key movers through the midfield and inside 50.
Yeah, it's a great point to pick up. We sent through that stat in the chat there. We were the worst side at converting from turnover in the first 3 weeks. And to go out and kick 10 against North, who was supposedly a really good offensive side, a top 6 team in the competition for offense. It was really good to execute, punish them on turnover and hit the scoreboard.
Yep.
And then as soon as we sort of started to kick away in that third quarter, it was the party lights were on, weren't they, Mads? And we were able to just, slice them up, move the ball really well and, just put the game to bed. It was just nice to see.
Sensational. As I said, really, really no passengers on the ground whatsoever. Corey Warner was probably a little bit quiet, but that's okay. I mean, Angus Sheldrick came on and actually sort of immediately impacted, kicked a snag, which was
it's
good
an
to
interesting one with Gus. Came on against Freo, didn't really impact the contest. Had 1 or 2 good plays in that Freo game, but came on, had 12 touches, kicked a goal. He was waltzing through contests, kicking snags. It's something you love to see, but at the same time, it was a north side who had given up the ball game by then.
For
so
sure.
you can't read into it too much, but it's good at the same time. Still good to see him coming on, impacting, and doing his job.
One man we do need to mention.
Yes.
Is the great Ollie Florent.
Yes.
Because he's showing signs of being back, Deeble.
He is.
And we love that. We're a big doozy pod, as you can see, faithful.
Big
and we want our doozy men up to the level that we know that they can get to. And it was good to see him kick a goal. It was good to see him hitting targets left, right, and centre.
Well, going back to the point of getting it in your best ball user's hands, right? The players on field are obviously backing him in, right? He's had 12 marks, right? That's third behind Jake Lloyd.
They're feeding him the ball.
And Biasy, right? So they obviously, he's known as a good kick. We know he can pull off those kicks. And has he had a really poor start to the year? Absolutely. But he's starting to turn it around as well.
Pretty good, Deebs.
It was a great
good hit out.
Great day out under the lid. Great night out.
To be 2-2 at this point, as I say, faithful, that cannot be underestimated. What an effort that is.
100%.
Because if you take 6 best 23 players out of any side, they're going to struggle. Yeah, even more.
It's a phenomenal effort, Mads, and I think that the competition is starting to take a little bit of notice to how good we sort of have been so far. Very competitive against Hawthorn, flag favourites, went within a goal of the reigning premiers, right? And this is all whilst being decimated by injury.
And then a couple of wins, which is just phenomenal, and Freo away, and North away.
Away.
Name one time we played at home. Jesus.
Yeah, it's not ideal.
Don't get me started, faithful.
Yeah, but
don't get me started.
Phenomenal
on
effort by the boys. It's really good, but we might take a little break there and we'll jump into the socials.
Welcome back to True Bloods.
Yes.
We're
back, Mads.
We're back 2-2.
Oh no, we've lost the bud. We've lost the bud.
I was going to say if you break that one, I'll be pretty unhappy. I don't think they're making many more of them, Deebles.
No, it's I'm sorry. It's still intact though. We're good.
They're annoyingly fragile.
They are.
Bobbleheads.
Going over the Adelaide Oval this week, the Bud. Do you remember the Bud's goal running down the wing? The Adelaide player was running against him. And
who was
Talia.
it? Daniel Talia.
Who was chasing after him. That was one of my favourite moments of the Bud. That was great.
It was a ripper. Shades of Cale Hooker.
Yeah, it was.
Which
Just to recreate it like that. What
unreal.
a moment. That was berserk.
Unreal. Absolutely berserk. And he stuffed up the bounce and just kept going.
I think he took 2 bounces in like 80 metres.
Yeah.
it was
That's
amazing.
similar to the Lewis Jetta run from halfway down the field.
Yes.
Took 4 bounces and kicked the goal in that great preliminary final against the Pies. Geez, we've been lucky on some of them.
How good's reminiscing about the Bloods?
I could do that.
I could
that
do
could
that
be
all
the
day.
pod. That could be the pod. Well, if you want it, we can do it.
Big
That we don't
history
have to.
pod.
That we don't have to prepare for.
No.
We can just keep talking.
You can.
You can sit in the backyard with your mates, having a few beers. You can play a few games of who wears who.
Who wears who?
Um,
Exactly right.
Now, we're going to gather round. Now, we are going to gather round still with a relatively depleted list, Deebs.
Yeah. No, we're not. The club is. The Swannies.
Well, I say,
I wish we were going to gather
I say
round.
we as in the collective.
I know. But, then we'll have people in the DM saying,
No.
where are you going to be?
To be fair, we are not going to gather round. I just want to make that clear.
Yeah.
If Deebles hasn't already, because we just couldn't make it work. We would love to be there. It'd probably be very bad for our health.
We do tend to get carried away, especially when the Swannies are playing.
If we were loose in Adelaide, and I use the term loose, in a number of different ways because it would be, it would be damaging, Deebs.
Damaging disposal. But, there is a lot of the crew heading over there. If you jump onto the Swannies website, they do have all the activities and stuff that they've got going on for the club. I think there's a few pre-match events as well. Hit up Matty Donnelly from the Facebook. He'll be over there. He'll be all over the scheduling.
I ran into the big fella today, actually.
Oh, Big Matty, was he walking the dogs?
I ran into Matt Donnelly from the Facebook group in person, which is unbelievable to see. He was in green. He was in full green. The man's best friend. Dog walking company that he's got that operates in and around Stonington. There you go.
So if you need
clip. If you or your dog need to walk around Stonington.
We love dogs here. Whether your dog, Leo.
He's a good boy.
He's a good boy, Leo. I think Matty Donnelly's had the pleasure of walking Leo.
I don't think he has. Yeah, I don't think he has. Maybe I could, for that free plug, maybe we could work something out. Who knows? But as I say, Deep, we the Sydney Swans, will be quite depleted. And we're going to go over to play a Collingwood side with no captain. We've got no captain. Callum Mills is still injured. James Rowbottom was captain on the weekend, Deebs.
That he was.
And for mine.
For yours.
He was a sight to behold, operating around the ground when the camera's not on him, when he's sort of trying to organise and strategise behind play, get everybody set up. It looks like he's been captain for 200 games.
He did. And you went with, over on your socials, whether it was your Instagrams, your Facebook, your TikToks, over on your X's, you went with #AskTheFaithful. Rowie still doesn't get the plaudits that he deserves. The man was captain on Saturday night and led the boys at the coal face as per. For yours, does he lead the boys out against Collingwood on Friday night at Gather Round? Was the question, Mads.
I've got Sharon Sheen here over on your Facebook, Steeps.
Yes.
Yes, he epitomised everything a captain should be. Similar vein to Kirky. It's giving Kirky, Deeps, I think.
No, I think it's an accurate description.
I think so.
Yeah, it was really interesting seeing that clip where he was just marshalling the troops at the contest while the ball's nearly in play, right?
Yes.
It was something I haven't seen from someone on our list so vocally and so clearly, and it was so obvious that Rowie was leading him out there. And I think we have been missing that at times with, Millsy not being out there the last 2 years very often. It's something that we have questioned at times, is that on-field leadership, and that's one thing that definitely came through on Saturday night.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Have you got one there?
I do. We got Big Zane Red and White over on your X's.
Oh, wow.
Mads. He goes, big Rowie fan for mine.
For yours.
Most definitely should lead the boys out again. But question without notice, a lot of people are saying Mills should stand down as he has been absent for so long and return
huge
unclear.
Call.
I think he holds the captaincy, but interested in your thoughts.
I am an advocate of allowing people opportunities, especially in leadership. Now, there's probably a lot of mystery surrounding the way the Swans do leadership, Deebs. Would that be fair to say?
100%.
Because we don't advertise who's in our leadership group. Now, if you can put two and two together and look at sort of who the rolling captains through each game when Millsy's not there, and you would logically suggest that's probably making up the leadership group. But I don't know. I think there's definitely an argument to be said that if you're recovering from a long-term injury and you haven't been on the field, that, maybe that is an opportunity to give someone else a crack. But what I also do know, Deebs, is how highly we rate in the four walls Callum Mills.
For sure. It's,
And what he does off the field from a leadership perspective.
I think Mills he's probably got, if you're being frank, he's probably got the next 12. Liz Frank. You've probably got 12 months to come good to get your body right before. If you haven't had your skipper out there for 3 years, it's a question, right? And it's nothing on Millsy. It's not like we're saying you got to step down Millsy. But if he can't get out on the field this year, then it's like, yeah, it's got to be questioned. But, he's got the best part of this year to get right, get back out there and lead from the front. We know Millsy's a sensational leader. So we're going to stick fat with him for the rest of the year. There's no doubt. But if we were getting into 2026 and he's still being questions around his body and everything, it has to be looked at.
I don't think anyone would be like Millsy, step down.
No.
That's because that's ridiculous. We know how vital a cog Millsy is to our side and when we're up and going. But I mean, Stephanie McBurney echoes your sentiments, Deebs.
For sure.
For mine.
For yours.
Mills stands down as captain for this year, showing real leadership in doing so, sacrificing self-aggrandizement, big words pod, for the good of the team. 2 years in a row, most of the year out due to injury, and Rowie and Heaney are made co-captains for 2025. Is Heaney a captain? I'm not sure. I think Heaney sort of leads by example on the field. Yeah. And that's his way of leadership. But, I mean, it's hard to know outside the four walls, Deebs. But, I mean, Mills, Stephanie's saying here, revisit Mills' captaincy next year if we start the season without injury from him.
That's it. It's an interesting discussion. The Mark over on X as well says, one of the most underrated players in the league. This is referring to Rowie, and the more oppositions the more oppositions disrespect him, the better. Let him lead.
Yes.
So that's a good point from
Let him love you. Cyril Eilert, as in pilot.
As in pilot, Mads, yes.
For mine.
For yours.
Yes, he does. He cracks in hard and keeps it simple. He's so consistent, it's just become the norm. He will surely get some blood on the fresh white kit. That he will. And go and donate some blood. One donation can save 3 lives. Help us bring Red back to the jumper.
You are a salesman. I love it. You're really good, Mads.
And this is it. He does not get the plaudits. What do the kids say these days, Deebs? He doesn't get the flowers he deserves. I don't like that saying. Is that what they say, Alessi?
No.
You don't reckon they say that?
I can't say I've heard that one before.
Tell me in the comments if I'm wrong. I reckon I'm right about that.
Oh, did he get his flowers?
Yes.
Not sure.
Well, we'll find out. I'm going to Google that in the break. Yes, I mean, he just doesn't get. He's just not rated as highly as he should be. And players like that very seldom are. When you've got your bruise-free Nick Dacos's running around getting the cheap stat padding statistics, and you've got Rowie cut cheek. It's outrageous.
Very good, Mads. And I'll go over onto our Instagrams. The Swan's Nest. He goes with for mine.
For yours.
Absolutely. Being the one to set the intensity and the bar for the rest of the boys. Showed against North and would do the same against the Pies. Gets the job done and should be given the nod this week as well. Also a potential co-captain in the future. True Bloods player.
Yes.
Yeah, very good.
Yes, we should sponsor him.
Yeah, I'd love to sponsor Rowie.
Rowie plays for the Swans.
It's a big Tommy Flanagan. Rowie. I'm a big fan of that one.
Rowie. God, he's come of age, hasn't he?
He has.
Now, Deebs.
Yes. Laptop down. Getting serious.
Are we sure we're going to actually have a side to play? Are we sure we're going to actually have a side to play at Gather Round? Oh, I would query whether we do, because apparently this is the way fixturing works now. You can just opt out. If you don't want to do it, you can just opt out. Don't worry about the 17 games at the MCG. Don't worry about how many times we have to travel. Don't worry about how many times West Coast and Adelaide and Fremantle and Port Adelaide have to travel. No. It's too hard. It's too hard going up and playing at Greater Western Sydney and getting done over twice in a row. It was twice in a row, wasn't it?
Once against them, once against us.
Yeah, that's right. Fair income. Where do they? Is it? It's laughable. It's laughable that you can't see the irony and stupidity. And I'm talking the whole supporter base, the same thing. They completely agree.
Would you say it's a wussy boy attitude?
It's big wussy boy energy.
Yeah. And they're like, it's so funny. It's like, oh, we're not changing our jumper. We're not doing it. We've worn this for so long. Well, hey, get a Clash jumper. Everyone's got one. You know different. Guess what? You play 17 games at the MCG every year. Oh, got to go up to Sydney twice at the start of every year. Mate, build a bridge, get over it. And guess what? You got it coming for you this week. Oh, we've got a couple of injuries. Hey, so do we. It's longer than Mads' arm. If you paid attention and just got off the old Vic media bias and, we're a club down in Melbourne. Don't want to travel up to Sydney. Please. Strong. That leads us in really nice to the preview, Mads. Big game.
Let's go.
Friday night, Adelaide Oval. Collingwood Magpies, Swannies. Let's go. Welcome back to True Bloods.
Yes.
Mads.
Yes.
Friday night footy.
We
love this. I live for this. And this is what it's about.
This is the showies.
It's time for the Swannies to step back up and earn the respect of the rest of the competition. Because I think so far this year, Mads, we have been disrespected.
Yes.
They don't respect. As soon as something goes wrong, we're out of sight, out of mind up in Sydney, right? And it's time to put some respect back on the showies. Shout out to Jev from the 100K.
Yeah, we love the 100K.
We do. And it's all about coming to the party, per se, Mads. We love parties.
Hey, and there is a hill.
There is a hill at the Adelaide Oval.
And so who are you going to invite to the party on the hill? Would you like to come, David?
All right, we'll get into that before we preview the game, Mads. But you invited him last week. I'm inviting him this week. We talk about Showtime Swannies, right? Is there a player better in the competition who is more exciting, who can kick the most amazing goals and take the most amazing marks, Madison class? It's Isaac Heaney.
Oh, Isaac Heaney. He's due.
He's due. He's going to tear one apart.
Like
he's in form. I'm telling you, he's in form.
But this is him. He's prime time.
Yeah.
Prime time, show time. Heaney kicks 5.
Yeah, it's like channel the inner qualifying final coming from behind against the Giants last year, chucking us on his shoulders. Isaac Heaney kicks 4, has 28, and Mark of the Year contender as well. There we go.
Yes.
For yours, Mads.
For mine, Deeble.
Who are you going with?
Could it be another Amadi party at the Adelaide Oval?
Mate, another man in form.
But do you know who I'm going to invite to the party? Yeah. And this is a man who is going to tear shreds through that midfield of Collingwood's. And that is going to be the Liz, Nick Blakey.
Liz. Yeah, you reckon he'll be getting maybe a little bit jealous with all
the biasy stuff?
The biasy stuff.
It's the biasy stuff.
I think jealousy is the wrong word.
No, but I think it's just natural competitiveness.
That's the one.
Maybe with a little bit of envy. With a little bit of envy because Biasy's been the one hitting those angles inside forward 50 and not the great Lizard. But Lizard needs everyone to understand that he is the original and the best at this sort of caper. And I think he'll be coming to the party. And I reckon he's going to kick 2 snags, Stable.
Getting off the half-back line, pushing up outside 50.
Yes.
The Lizard point. I love when Lizard goes with that one. So
it's massive.
Good. It's good.
So I think I reckon he, in a similar vein to Heaney, he's made for Friday nights.
For sure. So though the two boys, Haynes and Lizard, bringing the doozies on the hill over at the Adelaide Oval. We're looking forward to that. But it's fair to say Collingwood has been okay so far this year. They started the year off really slow. And they've worked their way. I think they've won 3 games in a row now, Mads. But I personally think far from convincing.
You're not impressed.
Far from convincing. You go back to last Friday night or Thursday night, was it, Mads, when they played Carlton. That is one of the worst footy games that I have seen in a long time. As soon as the rain came down, it was really average. And if you can't put a score on Carlton, I don't think you're putting a score on too many teams.
Carlton have, been, it makes the sort of Richmond win against them seem a lot less remarkable than it actually was.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yep.
Every team that's beaten them, it's gotten considerably less remarkable. And so if you look at that, Collingwood certainly weren't that impressive against Carlton. They lose De Goey, They
Yes.
lose. Schultz. Now, I don't rate Schultz, but he's actually been playing a lot better footy for them.
Yeah.
He's a real target up forward. He's kicking snags. He's out. De Goey's out. Dan Houston's out.
That's sure.
That starts to even up the list strength.
It does. The great Will Hoskin-Elliott might get a game, I think.
Wendell. The man...
Wendell.
The man who you can always bank on for a goal, but you can bank on a few turnovers as well. So
sure.
I'm happy to have him under lights at the Adelaide Oval. I just don't think, I think we were not a massive gambling pod, but I think we were 240 as early as yesterday.
Stage. Yes.
So it's like how that is disrespect, Deebs.
Yep.
That is pure disrespect. Because we're 2-2. They've won one more game than us.
Correct.
And they've been unconvincing. We've been exceedingly convincing and had a couple of honourable losses. I just don't think we're that far off, Deeble. I think it's disrespectful, and it shows that even the bookies don't even pay attention to us.
Mate, you're preaching to the choir here, Mads. You're preaching to the choir.
So this is tailor-made for us, Deebs.
There is. Now, Mads, there's two big matchups for mine.
For yours.
You've got Nick Dacos.
And
you've
Wussy
got
boy.
Wussy boy Dacos, and James Jordan goes to him.
There
is not a question about this.
Have to. This is not one of the, where will he go? Will he do this? He's going to Nick Dacos. And if you remember back, this is pre-James Jordan. This is back in the Ryan Clark days.
Yes. Oh, the great, the butcher of Moore Park.
Yeah, the butcher of Moore Park, Padlock Senior. That was phenomenal. Now, we lost that game, but that is the blueprint of what to do. Nick Dacos hates getting tagged, hates contact. Nick Dacos hates contact. That's all you need to do.
Little bit of attention.
Ruffle his feathers.
That's it.
And it needs to be a team thing as well.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter if they say, don't touch Nick. Don't touch Nick. You need to absolutely drive him into the ground every time. Guys, he's the best player in the comp.
Yep.
He's the best player in the comp. It'd be disrespectful if we didn't do that.
Yeah, that's it. It's the ultimate respect.
Yeah.
Is getting the hard tag.
Yeah.
And get physical because you know it raffles him. And then he starts falling over and Wussy boy Dacos. Like, seriously, the way he crumples at contests sometimes when he gets a little flake and throws himself back, it's an absolute disgrace. And I hope the umps really pick it up on the weekend.
Sure. Well,
Mads.
I mean, and again, you don't have the 19th man on the ground, and that is the crowd. So that'll be good. They do travel. But hopefully we'll have a lot of red and white in the stands. But it's critical to winning the game. You stop him, you're in good shape.
That's the first matchup, Mads. Now, the second matchup for mine.
For yours.
It's Brodie Grundy. It's Darcy Cameron. Big respect to Darcy Cameron. I think he's playing some great footy. He's an underrated ruckman
One of the great ruckmans
in this competition.
Yep.
And it's huge for Brodie. He stepped up to the plate last week against Sherry, one of the most informed ruckman in the competition, and it is vital that Broads goes again this week and takes care of Darcy Cameron. Because it's a very similar ruckman types. They love their follow-up game, and that's how they get themselves into the game. And I want Broads to take Cameron forward and kick a goal on him. That's what I want to see.
And you know what it'd be really fitting, Deebs, because he is a South Australian.
Sure.
Brodie Grundy is from Adelaide. He's in his hometown. He's against his own old club. This is tailor-made for Brodie. And do you know what would be great? A snag. Yeah. A snag for Brodie Grundy. He hasn't kicked many of them with the Schwannies. But you can't underrate Darcy Cameron. Yeah. He's critical for them. He's been fantastic. Yeah. So it'd be enormous if Brodie could halve or win the contest there. Because as we said, a key element of our win against North Melbourne was our work at stoppage. Yep. And that was a lot to do with our high-class mids and Brodie really just making, it wasn't just wrestling. He was getting hit-outs to advantage. So, everything is trending in the right direction for areas that we needed to improve upon and areas that we know that if we're winning in, we generally win the game. And it's tailor-made for this game for it all to come together, Deebs, for mine.
For yours. Yeah, it's huge. It's a big game for us. All games are big, Mads, but this one just feels like it's got a little bit more importance to us for that inner belief, even with having the injury list that we do, Mads. And if we can go over, because I've got a lot of Collingwood supporters in my friendship group.
Likewise.
Mate, and they're sooking it up now, right? They're like, oh, no Houston. No Schultz, no DeGoey, right? 3 out. And I said, you compare that to Mills, Goulden, and who was the other one I went with? Papley. Right? I said, arguably, ours are bigger outs than yours.
Then Taylor Adams, then Harry Cunningham, then Lewis Malikan. Now, on that point,
selection.
If Malikan and Cunningham, say they both test and they're both in a position where they can play.
Yeah.
What do you do?
I am picking both of them.
You're picking both of them?
I think you got to.
I think you probably do. You probably do.
Yeah. And
that being said, is there an argument for if it ain't broke, don't fix it?
Of course
Considering
there is.
it's a potent North Melbourne forward line, but maybe that's a bit of a false economy.
Yeah.
Who are you taking out?
If you're having a look at the list from last week, you can't drop Tommy Hanley.
No.
Right? He's playing while Papley is out. It comes from Corey Warner and Caden Cleary.
Yep.
Right? They're the two that sort of drop out. Then you can.
I mean, one of them can be a sub. See, I wouldn't mind. I don't mind Corey Warner as a sub because of his fitness.
Yep.
And the fact that he can add a little bit of speed. Cleary was pretty good, although didn't not super big numbers, but he was pretty good on the weekend.
Yeah, there's an argument you could probably bring Harry on as a sub too, if that's how we get some
Correct.
game time into him. That's an option too. Now, we might get a bit more of a read on the VFL with Catsy's VFL report. I'm going to play that into the microphone now.
Yeah, very sort of technologically apt pod here.
Mads, Deebs, faithful.
Yes.
She was a rough outing at Arden Street on Sunday with the Magoos copping a 49-point slap from the Shinboners in what was a pretty ordinary performance. After a solid start and outstanding first quarter from Logan McDonald, the Kangas upped the pressure and executed efficiently by hand and by foot to give us plenty to think about before Werribee come up at the tramway in a couple of weeks' time. Skipper Nicholas Shipley continued his rich vein of form alongside Benny Patton, who was hoping to build more consistency after a rough run in the ones. Happy to see Will Green make some progress in asserting himself across the contest, while Aaron Francis continues to be a rock in the back half. Now, given the amount of injuries in the ones, the knock-on effect has its critical mass in the twos. One can't expect too much from the unlisted players, but the listed boys can't escape the gun. Logan may have had an excellent first quarter, but after that he may as well have gone by the name Andy Dufresne because he up and vanished like a fart in the wind. If you want to run laps post-game to get the Ks up, how about doing it in the play when your team needed someone to run and present? If he's selected this week, I'll give this up. And whilst I'm flicking through my shit list, my mate Jack Buller, with the turning circle of a Panamanian oil tanker with 0 tackles and 0 goals, didn't fare much better. Clock's ticking, and whilst I'll acknowledge that he's coming back from injury, he needs to provide some presence and break a fucking sweat. Or he'll be back in Perth, where we first found him. Ned Bowman, Jesus.
Bowman.
Second game, but just like a forced day trip to the NGV, I don't like what I'm seeing on the wall. That'll do. Up the Bloods.
It's always entertaining from Catsy, isn't it?
It's good.
Strong views from Catsy. Now, this has been a big discussion sort of in our group chats is Logan doing run-throughs after the game. You didn't have too much input in the combo so far.
I had it muted. Because I do need to sort of enhance shareholder value from time to time. Now, can you just run us through the discussion?
So, look, as the sort of the word filtering through, Mads, was Logan McDonald's KPIs. You would know your KPIs being in your Big Four bank, et cetera, right? The KPIs for the...
bet I do.
The KPIs for the weekend were either 10Ks or 3/4 worth of game time.
So what, you didn't do 10Ks during the game?
That's how I took it.
That's a concern.
Isn't it? I'm taking that view as well. It's like I don't think especially when you're down by 10 goals to North in the VFL, I personally am willing to sort of sacrifice a little bit of positional stuff. Like, I don't really care about Logan playing as the deepest forward in the VFL. There was even talk pre-game that he was going to get up on a wing and maybe a little bit back. Like, it's a funny sort of introduction for Logan. And I would probably nearly go as far. It's hard to say. A little bit uneducated on it, right? But mismanaged during the game.
Well, I mean, yeah. So on average, it's about 12 to 14 kilometres a game.
No, and this is fine, right? But if you're not getting your 10 Ks in.
But I mean, he should, if he knew that was the requirement, if that was the prerequisite that you're here to get some Ks in your legs, surely you're running up. You're not just hanging around in the goal square.
I just think there's a massive difference between match intensity running and then doing
Jogging.
8 strides of 150 on the ground. They're not comparable. We know players blow up when they come back in that first game. And look, there's time with Logan McDonald. I just think it's a funny look.
It's an interesting one.
Yeah.
Yeah, fascinating.
But look,
fascinating.
It's a real boffin area.
Real boffin it, yeah, it would be.
It's like we're talking VFL post-game runs, but I just think Logan's a really important player to us, so it's of interest.
It's real boffin behaviour to be standing around post-game at Arden Street of a Sunday afternoon and sort of just watching the Ks go through Logan's legs around what was it, around the centre square or something?
No, like end-to-end stuff.
End-to-end.
So, solid 160-metre stride, but I just don't think you ever see that, especially, look, you see it with a sub. Right?
Yes.
They do some running after the game. That's pretty stock standard. But someone who's got like nearly 3/4 into him, and then, they obviously weren't happy with the workload into him, and that's what they had to do.
For sure.
The VFL have the bye this week as well. So he's definitely not playing AFL. I'll hang my hat on that.
No way.
So it's just a really interesting one.
Yeah, fascinating.
But
I like the idea of them both coming in. I would probably lean
Cunningham, Malikan.
Yeah, I would probably lean. If you had to pick one to come in, who would you say?
Oh, mate, the back six was sensational last week. As good as Mally's been, it's Cunningham for mine.
For yours, I would tend to agree, especially because with Malikan's injury history. I'd rather not rush him back.
Another week.
Yeah, definitely.
But yeah, if he's good to go, he's good to go. It's funny whether is Lewis Malikan a back-up start into this side now? It's like Tommy's gone back.
I would feel he is because he's a bigger body and it allows for Lizard to do his thing.
That's right. That's the trade-off, isn't it?
Yep.
It really does. Great point,
and it's horses for courses, people.
Absolutely, mate.
Horses
Absolutely.
for courses.
Schwannies by how far?
Schwannies. Close game, all game, and we just run away with it and we win by 6 goals in the final quarter. The Showies.
Friday night.
Yourself?
4 goals.
4 goals.
Yeah.
For yours.
I think Haynes gets off the chain, tears it up.
Yes. Liz.
Our 2 men. That would be really nice to see. Now, Mads, we might just jump through the tipping very quickly this week. We've been carrying on a little bit this week.
I've enjoyed it. What do you think, Alessia? We got 20 more minutes in us, I reckon.
We've got the thumbs up from the back. She's loving it.
It's just GFC faithful.
Gather around. Kicked off on Thursday night football with the Adelaide Crows and the Geelong Cats.
Could be a good game, Deebs.
I think so.
Could be a good game. I think Adelaide will do it. Adelaide are really good. They went down. I know you don't rate them. You don't rate them, people. I get that. I completely understand that. I think their forward line is that potent. No Henry for Geelong. I think Adelaide are going to win at home.
Yeah, I think they will too. I think they will too.
Set the gather round tone.
North Melbourne and Gold Coast out at the Barossa.
That'll be Gold Coast.
There's
Gold
a wine
Coast,
out there for them.
There has to be a wine out there for everyone out there
Big
in the
Grenache
Barossa Valley. Yes. Gold Coast will win.
Yes, they will. They're going pretty well. I was impressed with what they did on the weekend.
Mac Andrew needs to be careful.
Yeah, interesting. I don't mind. A bit of spice in the contest, Mads. Carlton versus West Coast, Adelaide Oval.
Jeez.
Real low-grade affair.
Do you know what? West Coast.
I'm going to tip Carlton.
Sure.
Western
Horses, of course.
Horses, of course. The Doggies and Brisbane at Norwood. Really small ground.
That'll be Brisbane flexing their muscle, I believe.
I believe so as well.
Yeah,
Brisbane.
there you go.
Melbourne versus Essendon at the Adelaide Oval Saturday night.
Wow, that is God. Wow.
Oh, wow. Dons do it.
Wow. Dons win.
Dons win. Geez, Melbourne are poor.
They're done.
They are done. Richmond and Freo out at the Barossa.
Oh, God, they picked some poor games. Fremantle for mine.
Fremantle for yours and for mine. St Kilda versus GWS at Norwood.
St Kilda have shown good glimpses, and GWS had an effectively training run last week. Jesse Hogan is one of the premier forwards of the competition. I'm going to say GWS. Yourself?
Correct. Don't read too much into St Kilda with the performance over Port for mine.
For yours.
Port v Hawthorn at the Adelaide Oval to round it out. Do you remember this game when Ginnivan went berserk against Geelong? Against Collingwood, I should say. That was great last year. Love that.
Yes, the Grenache Hour.
Yes.
That's actually a pretty good Grenache Hour game. Will Day out for a long time.
Yes.
And Alessi, our producer,
Big
is
Hawks
a
girl.
Big Hawks girl, and she's not happy. I think Hawthorn will win, but I think it'll be closer than people expect yourself.
Yeah, I would take Hawthorn at the -30. I
Sure.
reckon they'll smoke them.
Sure.
Very good, Mads. It's been good to be back with you in here
Yes,
as always.
likewise.
The AFL Today Studio helping us out. Make sure you go donate your blood if you're eligible. It helps so many people out there. Thanks for the club for getting these out to us.
Yeah.
We're a big, we love the sentiments of what they're trying to do.
Well, the campaign's fantastic because it is something that is in constant demand, right? And I think it's something that can be done. You know, you can even do it down at Swans HQ, right?
Yeah,
Deebs?
absolutely. Yep.
It's something that everyone, if you can get involved with it, you really should because it's a really selfless thing to do. And well done to the Swans for jumping on board. But that about wraps us up, Deebs, I'd say.
It does. This has been True Bloods. We are the #1 independent Sydney Swans fan podcast. We are #1 in your hearts, and we're #1 on the charts. We're speaking words of wisdom. Up the potty.